Welcome back to Top Talk TV, where everything comes off the top. Today we're going to be reacting to Bill Burr. When you know the N-word is coming.
When do you know when the N-word is coming?
A lot of times the N-word don't come when I know it's coming. It usually comes when I don't know it's coming.
Yes, Troy, then.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah. It's the elephant in the room.
Really?
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room.
Okay.
I've been called the N-word before.
Yeah.
I wear it like a badge. As Paul Mooney said, make my teeth and my essence feel good. Okay. Are y'all ready?
Yes, we are, brother.
Let's do this. Bill Burr.
Alright, we're a little stir crazy, folks.
It's nice to be back here down in the South, man. I had a real weird experience last time I came down here. I was in Nashville, right? Sort of an awkward social situation, right? I'm sitting at this bar. There's this white dude sitting like 2 stools away. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. And that Terrell Owens story was in like sports news. So I try to make conversation. I'm like, man, look at this guy. This guy just signed a $40 million contract. He's already bitching, man. How much money do you need to make? And the dude looks at me. He's like, you know what I say? And then he looked over his shoulder, which I now know is the telltale sign that the N-word is coming, and it's coming hard. Oh yeah, it's not gonna be pronounced with the A, it's gonna be with the R, and he hit the R, he like stuck the landing. There was like a dismount, Klan members high-fiving in the background, like doing the wave. Just out of nowhere, so now immediately I'm looking over my shoulder like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm waiting for like this hail of black fists to come raining down on top of me. I hate when people do stuff like that. That dude made me part of like a potential ass kicking that I had nothing to do with. You don't do shit like that. He just had that word, hot potato, just threw it in my lap. Trying to pass it down to the next white dude. I hate when people do that, man. You know, it's like, dude, feel me out first. Ask some questions. Do you like to fish? Have you ever fucked your sister, right? I start rattling off answers, then you go old school. You give me a pamphlet, you tell me about your militia. Don't just dive into it. That dude was one of the angriest people I ever met. I should have known that word was coming, because he was just watching Terrell, right? Anytime I would bring up, look at man, that guy's talking trash, he would just like flip out. He won't shut up! You know, those people get like so mad they're not even looking at you. Their eyes are up, you just shut up and play the game! You know what's funny? I don't even like Terrell, but now I love the guy. Because every time I see him talking trash, I know this idiot in Nashville is just losing his mind, like kicking over his kitchen TV. Shut the fuck up! I like violence, man. I am. Not like when it happens to me or if I see it live. I like watching it on TV, you know? Watching people, you know, get attacked by animals. Just get blasted in the face or something, you know? Like, I'm a huge sports fan. You know my favorite, like, moment of, like, the last year was in sports? That Detroit Piston, Indiana Pacer bench clearing brawl. Wasn't that great? That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I was so confused when I watched ESPN that day. They were like, that was absolutely disgraceful. Basketball fans, it just must be a... I'm sitting there looking like, I'm a basketball fan. I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching out-of-shape civilians get the shit kicked out of them by professional athletes. It was fascinating. And I think as sports fans, we kind of had it coming, right? Because how many times you gone to a game, right? You got a little too drunk, you started screaming at some dude on the field who could clearly kick the shit out of you, right? If you saw him in the parking lot, you'd be like, hey, can you sign my stamp collection? I think you're awesome. You get in the game, you're all drunk, you're like, you suck, buddy! You're a piece of shit! And they're always calling him up, come on up here! No, come on up here! Well, they came up there. They did, and they kicked the shit out of everybody. It was great. It was like a cartoon. You're like beating up whole rows of people at once, like... I loved every second. I love how Ron Artest punched the wrong guy. Wasn't that great? He taught that dude a valuable lesson in life. When shit goes down, you don't just stand there like you're watching a movie like, wow, it's coming right at me. Must be in 3D or something. That was a 5'6", 110-pound white dude had an angry 6'10" black dude running right at him. That had to have been in his top 3 nightmares all time. Right behind getting his dick cut off and being lit on fire. And he just stood there. He's like trying to explain himself. Well, I still have the liquid in my cup, so there's no way I could have. He's an idiot.
If you're in the vicinity, you can catch these.
Who was the guy he was talking about at the end?
Ron Artest. It was this like big fight with Detroit Pistons versus the Indiana Pacers, and Ron Artest fouled. I forgot my man's name, but he gave him a big black dude from Detroit. Fouled him, and it was a technical foul and everything was going on, getting ready to be a brawl between those two. Next thing you know, some fan throws something on the court, like a beer or something. No, Ron Test stopped and he laid on the scorer's table like that, and then somebody threw a drink right all on him. So he just got up, ran in the stands, and started wailing on people. When you get a chance, go on YouTube and punch in Detroit Pistons Pacers brawl, and they'll show you the whole thing.
Without finding out who or what, you can't ever find out if it's something like.
Other
They
players.
could have if he would have just been calm and looked at the video cameras and all that. But you know, since in the moment, and then
dudes
he probably
was getting
been
clocked.
like they were getting booed.
His players ran up in the stands. Fans was coming to the bench to where they were, and the players on the bench were just banking them.
That was a nice thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was a beautiful fight.
Like that.
Like Burr said.
So you like watching the
It was
violence
beautiful
too?
because you don't usually see that in the basketball game.
Right.
And a lot of times in basketball games, you'll see two guys go at it. They'll act like they're going to fight, but they just waiting for their teammates to come pull them away. Yeah. So they can be like, no, get your little
Now, brother,
ass
you know that's new school basketball.
Yeah,
because
that's new school
basketball pro with Jordan and Pittman and Iverson, and they was always going in and Barkley and freaking oh my God!
But they don't think about
even the white players. I'm sorry, you guys, I cannot remember all the names right now.
Patrick Ewing,
thank you. They would go in. Oh, it was so exciting.
Kobe used to even get in it sometimes. Kobe chin-checked Childs on the Knicks one time, and Childs went after Kobe, and Kobe was like, I'm good. I already got my lick in.
And bro, wasn't
we
so
no
much
fighters
about
out here. We ball players.
Them being barbarians on the court. They were just so passionate and driven by the game, and you didn't have all these regulations and don't touch me. I'm saying like. I want to be sandpaper, but I'm really like ergonomic paper. Like you can't fold me without a crease. No, like these men were just into it. Just,
you know what I'm talking about? The league has been pussified. The pussification of the league. Yeah,
that should be a title of a book.
Yeah. It's definitely how it is now.
The pussification of a new generation. I mean, ooh, that sounded pretty good, huh? Even the way I said it. Give me my props. But brother, I agree with you in terms of in terms of sports and where it has gone, where it's been, even just how men and folks interact these days, and not to be desensitized by what's going on and people identifying themselves in it. That's not even my point. You just don't know how to relate anymore these days, even down to sports.
Yeah.
But isn't that better? Like that there. I mean, I understand what you guys are talking about because of passion. But like, there was obviously some issues, safety issues that you know came about because of those things, and that's why there's more regulations and fines and suspensions, and you know, because it's like people want to get caught up, or players want to get caught up in the moment, but the consequences: one, your career is gone, if someone hurts you, you know, permanently, and then two, it's like it's a bad look. You're supposed to represent something positive, and then you're acting chaotic.
And the fans gotta play their part too.
Moment. Yeah, absolutely. But you can't let the fans get to you because people are always going to say something, especially in sports. Yeah. People like get their whole emotions and lives caught up, and they become you on the court in their minds. And so, you know what I mean? And then if you do something wrong, it's like you failed them, You know?
Yeah, it's a trip.
And I totally like how this, how Bill Burr's comedic moment totally led us into a whole platform about how this word ER or added with an A just kind of blends into like masculinity and other.
And I like what he said too. Let me know. Ask me a few other questions to let you know if I'm cool with you even talking like that.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Oh yeah, because we've been through things like that, you know.
But I can even respect it, not on like how it may be perceived as being racism, or if you're a white man saying the N word. Like it's not even about that. Like I may not want you cussing around me.
Yeah, I know.
And to me,
like
that's
that.
a derogatory word, and I need you to respect yourself while you're in front of me, because your vocabulary is so broad that you don't have to belittle or insult your character by using profanity
language,
in the way that you do.
Yeah.
To create a paragraph of your thoughts. I really believe like your essence and your substance and your verbiage is way more profound than
Show some tact.
Absolutely. At the same time, you having a moment.
You can let it off. If you're having a moment, you're gonna let it off anyway.
That lip smack was for that.
Yeah. So has anyone ever used that word on you guys in a positive way?
Oh, me all the time.
In a positive way?
Yeah.
As a greeting.
In my neighborhood, yeah, it's a greeting. But
no, I'm talking about the ER, not the A, the ER.
Someone said it one time with the ER, and from the person that it came from, and the guys that was around, this was a mixed crowd around us, maybe about 8 of us, and maybe 3 of us was black. And when the guy said it, and it coming out of his mouth, we all looked at each other and just burst out laughing, because he's kind of like the last person. We know he didn't mean it in a negative term, but he was just saying it in a way, and it just came out nonchalantly, and we looked at each other and was like, should we blast, or is this funny? And then automatically in our minds, it came to us that it was funny because we know the dude.
But he wasn't of black descent.
He wasn't black,
okay.
no. Right. He was Italian.
So he got a homie pass. Oh, well,
no, you can't stereotype that too, because all he grew around, all he grew around was a mixed crowd. No, he wasn't Sicilian. Okay. I don't think he was Sicilian, but he could have been.
Maybe
but we know, I guess, in our hearts that in his heart, he didn't mean it on a negative. Right. Yeah, wasn't no malice behind it. Absolutely. But we was like, we give you this pass, but after a while, don't get too used to saying it. You don't catch a ball or something.
Because now it's such a, in our age, I mean, and even before this day and age, I shouldn't say our age, but this day and age, that word was used casually with the A. Once it got changed from the ER to the A, I mean, every race was using that wanted to, and I kind of feel like, okay, well, I know I'm going to get shitted on for this, and I'm going to accept that. I feel like a certain folks use the A also as a way to intimidate those that aren't quote unquote
in that group,
so they're not allowed to use it, but you're using it as a form of intimidation versus someone that's using it as a form to relate. You go, oh, well, because your ancestry is attached to this kind of color or this piece of history, you can't use it to anyone else outside of this, because I felt like the folks that added the A to the word culturally appropriated that word for them.
Yeah, they took something negative and made it fraternal. It made it like a brotherhood.
But is it really positive? Because in the same breath, depending on what kind of tone we use to make our point when we use that word, it's going to be a negative or a positive. The same way we use the B word today.
Listen to Kendrick Lamar's Pimp a Butterfly, and he can give you a better explanation on the origins of what that word really means. Because it's not really a negative word.
It never was. Established as one.
It just was used in a negative tone to kind of want to make someone think that they're putting somebody in their place, but it really just says more about your mindset instead of the person that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
thank you, bro. That was the point of that.
so that's why the people that put the A on it changed it from a negative term to a fraternal term to make it a brotherhood type thing. And if you go and research that word, it's actually a positive word. That's like when the
and
Nazis.
it's a Latin word, you guys.
Yeah.
It's a color!
But what I'm saying,
Like, I
and
turned
it-
into a state of mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny too that like
Or the
that
Latin
word
man.
gets used as like, for black people mostly.
Yeah, you
But
can
it's
be
a
any
Latin
color
word.
you
The
want.
Yes.
word is a
Keep
Latin
going.
word.
Don't stop recording.
Yeah,
We
it's a trip because
Sis, we talked about doing this too.
even when like Nazi people use like the swastika, that swastika is actually an old symbol that meant something. But then once you appropriate it to what the Nazi was doing, it's looked at as a negative thing.
Right.
So-
Right.
What can you do? There's
Right.
not much you can do except for get the people who are knowledgeable of what symbols are or words are. Get the people that are knowledgeable about those things and teach it down to the people who learn the bad part of it, and make sure they know the full view of that symbol or that word or whatever
Right.
you're trying to get across. People need to know the true meanings of things.
Right. And I think Olga and I being mixed was so funny to me. Troy is I don't know. Actually, I can't speak on I don't know if she's gone through this, but like because I'm mixed and I'm around a mixed crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very like comfortable. People see me as like someone that they can be very comfortable speaking openly with.
Mm-hmm.
That word from every ethnicity gets used around me loudly, and it's like because I do the same thing he was doing.
Like,
Bill was doing. I'm like, oh shoot, is that okay? Can you say that?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because you're like some people have said like you're my black friend, it's cool, and I'm like.
Mm.
Is it cool? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you, you can't express yourself around me, but oh shoot, did anybody else hear this? And then
But
it's like,
have you ever
hear-
said that to like one of your non-black friends? You're my cool white friend. I never say that to
Yeah,
people.
no, heck no.
I just say you're my friend.
That's right, and then it's like I've been around, black people, and they'll say things about other ethnicities, and I feel the same way, like cracker, or I don't know if I want to say that a lot,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, oh shoot, did anyone? So I do that with all ethnicities. I'm like, all those derogatory words, if it's meant jokingly or if people are using it as a way to converse with each other, it still makes me like cringe a little bit. And it's
Not
like,
me.
It's like I'm like, oh.
Remember I
shoot,
told you
oh,
a couple of times we were filming before how I like my stuff right out in the open?
Yeah.
I like people to feel freely to talk the way they need to talk, but you'll know if it's trying to be derogatory to you or a joke or complimentary. You would know that. So
Right, and it's like, and I do, Troy. It's just sometimes like my friends and they just get so comfortable and they say it so loudly and it's like and freely and I'm just like because we don't know. I mean, you have to be careful with the environment that you're in, unless it's just like, of course, just your friends and no one's around.
People you know.
Right, and you're absolutely right. I don't want anyone to tell me how to speak, but at the same time, I want to be consciously aware of my surroundings.
And you are respectful of how people speak.
right, because it's like being someone mixed, and you hear this and that from every angle. I like to just be respectful of like not demeaning anybody.
Yeah, it's just crazy like that. You can have people say or do things, and you just know.
Right.
You just know if it's a bad intention or a good intention.
Right.
So.
But I do the look over my shoulder thing too. I'm like, did anyone hear us talk about this? Because you never know when a fight's gonna go down. You just never know.
Gotta keep an eye on your surroundings.
Yeah.
Did you find anything out of that thigh, bro?
Not this time.
All right.
Well, the guy, Bill Burr, always funny.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank you guys for coming out to Top Talk TV. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and
follow our social media.
And check our notifications.
Yes,
And we will see you next time on Top Talk TV.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
You totally know you're going to put all that in here, right?
Yeah.